Hi there, Year 5. Mr. Griffiths here. So today I'm going to share with you my favourite book. And this book was written in 1937. I say favourite book. This is my favourite fantasy book. I've got lots of, I like to read sort of factual books, non-fiction, especially about the Second World War. I'm really interested in aeroplanes and things like that. So, but this is my favourite sort of fiction fantasy book. And this book is The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. It interests me because the reason why he wrote the book was because he knew all the old stories from sort of that we've been doing about the Nordic people, the sagas. So they're very, very old stories. He knew that the Celts, so the Scottish, the Welsh and the Irish, have their own stories that are very, very old. Like we call it folklore. But the English have very few stories like this, not really old stories. And this is because England was a very popular place for people to take over. So you had the Romans took over to start with, and then you had the Anglo-Saxons, and then you had the Vikings, and then you had the other Vikings, which are the Normans, and then after that, and these people didn't like people to have their own identity, to have the old ways. So they tried to get rid of the old stories, and this is what happened. So I think that Tolkien was working in as sort of head of English in a very, very prestigious university. I think it was Oxford or Cambridge. And he decided to write it. So write his own folklore that was loosely based around Britain. So I am going to start reading. So this is chapter 1, and it is called An Unexpected Party. In a hole in the ground there lived a hobbit, not a nasty, dirty, wet hole filled with the ends of worms and the oozy smell, nor yet a dry, bare, sandy hole with nothing in it to sit down on or to eat. It was a hobbit hole, and that meant comfort. It had a perfectly round door like a porthole, painted green with a shiny yellow brass knob in the exact middle. The door opened onto a tube-like hall like a tunnel, and a very comfortable tunnel without smoke, with panelled walls and floors tiled and carpeted, provided with polished chairs and lots of pegs for hats and coats. The hobbit hole was fond of visitors. The tunnel wound on and on, going fairly but not quite straight into the side of the hill, as all the people for many miles around called it, and many little doors opened out of it, first on one side and then on the other. No going upstairs for the hobbit. Bedrooms, bathrooms, cellars, pantries, lots of these. Wardrobes, he had whole rooms devoted to clothes. Kitchens, dining rooms, all were on the same floor, and indeed on the same passage. The best rooms were all on the left-hand side going in. For these were the only ones to have windows, deep-set round windows looking over his garden, and meadows beyond sloping down to the river. The hobbit was a well-to-do hobbit, and his name was Baggins. The Baggins have lived in the neighbourhood of the hill for time out of mind, and people considered them very respectable, not only because most of them were rich, but also because they never had any adventures or did anything unexpected. You could tell what a Baggins would say on any question without the bother of asking him. This is a story of how a Baggins had an adventure and found himself doing and saying things altogether unexpected. He may have lost the neighbour's respect, but he gained, well, you will see whether he gained anything at the end. So that was the start. I think that's quite a good place to stop, to be honest, because it hints about what might happen next. So there's a big adventure, a bit like the sagas that you've been writing. Yeah, and I love the description of the Hobbit hole. It really is really vivid and creates that picture of what it'd be like to walk through that Hobbit hole. So yeah, that's my favourite book. Hope you share some of your own.